Hi, Stampers. It's Lisa. Welcome. I apologize, I'm a few minutes late. I got everything all set up, got my cameras all going, and realized I was still in my pajamas with no makeup. So I figured rather than scare the heck out of you guys, I would go put some clothes on and put makeup on and be ready to go because I have a super cute card for you today. We're still playing with the Biggest Wish stamp set. And we're going to use the Bokeh technique. Now, this is something I haven't used in a while. Last time I did it, we did the background with sponges because we didn't have our blender brushes yet. So we're going to be making this card today. I want to thank everyone for joining me. Like I said, I'm running a little bit late, so we're going to get to cut our card base. And I'm guessing most of you that are here are experienced card makers and know, but if anybody is a beginner, the way that we get started making a card is that we have a piece of cardstock, 8.5 by 11, and we're going to score it in half and cut it in half. So if I score it at, let's see, 5.5, then I want to cut at 4.25. Now, if I had scored at 4.25, then I want to cut at 5.5. But we just need a standard card base. And then we need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock that are each 4 inches by 5.25. That's going to be one for the inside, one for the outside. Now, when I score my card base in half, one of the things I do is I bring my trimmer back in and I butt the cardstock up to this little lip. And then I fold it over and push this one into the lip. So there's kind of a bow right here. I don't know if you can tell. And then I push backward and make sure that that's where my crease is. And that makes it the most even for me on the bottom. So we're going to start out with that card base. Like I said, I wanted to use the Bokeh technique. So I'm going to bring in some older scrap paper and my blending brushes. And let's see, what do we want to use? I've got a purple, a yellow, let's go pink. I had some old blending brushes I bought online. I don't like them as well as I do our Stampin' Up brushes, but I bought these before we sold them. Ours have a bigger head or they have a smaller head. Because coming in January, we're going to have a new size of blending brush. And it's going to be the little minis. So back to our card. I'm going to bring in, like I said, polished pink. Let's do some Highland Heather and Daffodil Delight. I think these colors go pretty together. And I have a blending brush for each of my colors. So I'm going to start out with my Highland Heather, and I'm just going to randomly brush on from the side. Now the idea is that I just want to place color in various spots. Again, this is random, and we all know I don't do random very well, but I'm trying. My other thing is I try to start off the paper before rolling on. So that's why I dabbed it right here, because I don't want that first mark can be kind of harsh, and I didn't want that in my blending. I want color, but I don't want something harsh in the middle of it. So let's see. We can always go back and add more purple if we decide we need it. But I'm going to move, that was Highland Heather. This is polished pink. And I'm just swirling around and making circles. Kind of overlapping, but not by much. And I'm going to come back in with my Daffodil Delight. Does anybody have plans for New Year's? Our plan for New Year's is always to be in bed by 9 o'clock. I've never been a big fan of New Year's, like the celebration. And probably it's my dad's fault because he always called it amateur night. You know, back in the 70s, we did more casual drinking, or the adults did more casual drinking. And he always said that New Year's Eve was amateur night and that made the roads very dangerous. And so he always encouraged us not to go anywhere. So I never have. Okay, so I've got a little yellow in here. I don't know that I'm real happy with the coloring, so I'm going to come back in and add more purple. I should have left a spot for some more yellow over here. I feel like I'm off center. And the purple over the yellow didn't go very well, so let's come in with some darker. There we go, that's more purple. Anyway, you can play around with it until you're happy. And like I said, I just used pink, purple, and yellow, but you can use any colors that you wish. It's up to you. Like I said, I think this one came out better. But, you know, if we didn't like it, one of the things we do is, because we had done our coloring before we adhered, we can always flip it over. Maybe that's what I should have done, huh? Let's see how this one plays out. And I start with a gentle touch, and then I push down harder as we move along. Oh yeah, see, driving drunk is not a cool thing. I think a big party is fun if everybody, like, I don't know, spends the night or lives nearby or uses Uber. I don't know, it's just so dangerous. Maybe that's part of my being old, who knows. Okay, now I've got kind of a smudge in the middle, but we can put a bokeh over that, right? Let's move on to that part. What I did is I took just a piece of cardstock. This was some cardstock we had several years ago. You can use the base of the paper packs or anything thick, maybe thick Whisper White. But I just created circles of various sizes in there. That was with punches at the time. I think now we would have dies, but we just wanted to create circles. And then I have my Whisper White ink pad and a sponge dauber. And so what I'm going to do is try to get this inked up and then lay it over. And then I'm just dabbing, especially close to the edges. Now it's a little dry. So it's making a kind of a sticky sound. But I think it's working. Yep. Okay, so there's one dot. And then I'm going to just overlap a little, because if you see like bubbles or this effect we're going for, they kind of overlap a little. I got an edge. Let's see. Add a little bit of water. Let's see. Ooh, that works really well. So because it was dry, I kind of moved over to the brush. This is an aqua painter, and picked up white. And that worked as well. I have to be careful because it's got some orange under here. We probably would want to stick with one that was strictly white so that you didn't get this little bit of orange I'm getting on the edge. But just the idea is we want just some light, kind of an opaque, just kind of a tint of white that's going to give us our bubbles all over the card. Put one in the corner. Oops. Has anybody ever done this technique before? I know at one point we had a stamp set that was supposed to do bokeh. I mean, it did do bokeh, but it was supposedly a background stamp, but it wasn't the full background size. It was a little strange. But we're just going to put some random bubbles kind of all over. And then we're going to stamp our sentiment. Now, I did this one with embossing. So I came in with our Versamark ink and black powder. And I'm going to be using the embossing buddy. Partially because we also want to make sure that our white circles are good and dry. If I wasn't live, I would let that sit a minute and dry so that the powder does not stick to it. And like I said, we're using the Biggest Wish stamp set, and I did it that way. We can also do it the other way. All the words that are in there twice, once as the script and once as the block. I'm going to start from the bottom because that's going to give me my straight line so that I can look down through this and make sure that I'm squared to the bottom of that cardstock. And then I have to tilt it a little to see kind of where my gloss ends to put this one above it. Okay, if I kind of tweak it a little, I can see the shininess of where it is. And you will find when I dump the powder on it, the powder will stick to the Versamark. And I'm doing this over our embossing tray. And the embossing tray has this nifty little brush that allows me to come in and brush off any excess that's stuck where it's not supposed to. And then we can heat it with the heat tool. I'm going to hold it with the little tweezers. Mute this so I don't blow your ears out. Okay, so there we go. So I heated from both sides because when the paper gets the heat on one side, it tends to curl. So I make sure that there's heat on both sides and it keeps it the most even. And then we're ready to stick it to our card. So like 10 to 3, this was like one of the fastest ones we've done. And I'm not real happy with my background, so let's do it again. For those of you who came late, we can do it again, and I can also do it in different colors. What do you think of that? Should we do another one? And there we go. So there's the script on top and the script on the bottom. Let's do this one and this one. Okay, so let's do another card base. So this time I'm going to use Tahitian Tide and Parakeet Party. Now I start with a very light hand and then start pushing harder after I've started. Careful not to go too hard. This Tahitian Tide is that one that was really juicy on Monday. So it's going a little dark, and it's probably a good thing because now it's going to not be as juicy when I go to stamp with it, right? So one of the things about blending brushes is you can't be in a hurry. I don't know if my experience here is showing you that, but it's true. The more you try to be in a hurry and you get rushed and you push harder than you should and you get overzealous, it doesn't come out quite as good. And I tell you, having a camera on you throws you for a loop. Okay, let's see. Not liking it. Let's see. Oh man, they're so juicy. Very light, very light. And hang out for a bit because I'm kind of throwing that one away, but I'm not totally throwing it away. I'm going to use it as a base for die cutting some intricate dies. Oh, push too hard. Oh, man. That is got some issue in the middle. I don't know if it's the super juicy pad or what. That's bugging. And Coastal Cabana and Bermuda Bay. Let's try that. Okay, these older ink pads working much better. So I have a feeling those other ones may have been a little too juicy. This is Pool Party. Now the brushes can be cleaned. All you need to do is take them over to the sink and clean them with some gentle soap and water. And they rinse out. They do stain a little bit, but they do wash out. I tend to have one for each color family. Now I'm using different ones for these two because I started with the darker one first. I probably should have started with lighter, because then as you move darker, you're not covering up your color, if you know what I mean. But I have, one for blues and one for oranges and one for reds and one for pinks. There we go. That's coming out better. And because this one has the orange from doing a sunset, I'll pick something else. So I'm digging down into my bundle of designer series paper. And I'm using various old punches. These have retired. Like I said, you can do this with our dies very easily. This is just faster for me on camera. And if you have the punches, use them. Okay. Now I need my white again, which is not here. All right, there we go. So again, the white ink pad and my sponge dauber. While you're watching, make sure you enter hashtag prize patrol. That is how you get entered into the drawing to get today's card mailed to you. And you can choose if you want the pinks or the blues. Your choice. And then stick around to the end. I will do the drawing. And I also have what I'm doing next week. Next week, we're playing with the new products out of the January to June mini catalog. You'll be able to order out of that on January 5th. We also have an awesome join deal going on at that point. So if you have a really large wish list, definitely talk to me. You can get $175 worth of product for $99. So it's a heck of a deal. And then you can add on a mini cut and emboss machine for just $30 more if you choose. So Celebration always has some awesome deals. And if you choose to buy just as a customer, we'd have deals for that too. Being Celebration, those of you who've been around a while know that for every $50 to $100 that you spend, you get to pick something out of a catalog of stamps and designer series paper for free. Okay, I'm going to stop messing with it. I bring in a Coastal Cabana card base. And then I'm going to bring in the Stamparatus, because this time I'm not going to stamp in embossing powder. I'm going to stamp in regular ink, but I want to make sure that I get a good impression. So I'm going to use the Stamparatus. This is our stamp positioning tool. Thanks. And I'm just going to set the stamp in the corner where I want it. And then I'm going to close and let the plate pick it up. And then I'm going to check using the grid lines in the plate to make sure that it is indeed straight. And then if I put a stamp case underneath that plate, it holds it nice and even. So I can come in with my stamp pad and ink this up. And this is why I'm using the Stamparatus, because I don't know if you can see, but it kind of has some little empty spots in there. Hi, B. Welcome. I haven't seen your name before. You want to type in hashtag Prize Patrol, all one word, run together. That's what gets you into the drawing. It's collected by a computer, so it's kind of finicky. It wants to make sure it's exactly the way it's shown, or it doesn't catch your name. So please input that again as Prize Patrol. Okay, now I'm going to pull the plate out, and I'm going to flip this around, and we're going to use the other side. I would leave that there if we were doing a series of them, but since it's only a one of, I don't need that one anymore. That's one of the things that's great about the Stamparatus is it keeps your stamps in the same spot. So if you're mass producing, they're always in the same spot. And there we go. Now I get asked all the time about the sticky grid paper that's in here. And this is just a sticky piece of grid paper that I bought online. If you go to my blog or my website at queenbeecreations.net, under products I recommend is the link to where to find those. They're made by Sizzix. So I mentioned one of the things I do with my goof ups is I bring in some dies and die cut them. So I'm going to bring in my mini cut and emboss machine, and this is in the new boho blue. This is something that can be added to a kit in January for just $30. You can buy a white one for $63, or you can get this one for $30 as part of a kit. It has a 3-inch wide opening, and there are markings in our catalogs that says which dies fit through here. Okay, so you can see once I am to clean all of this out of here, you won't know that this was cardstock that I'd really messed up on and might have thrown in the trash, because since it has such small lines, you can't really tell. So what do you think of that? So while you're practicing blending, don't throw those things away. Hang on to them because they can be used. And I'll just apply this to my card front using some glue dots. I'm only putting them in the middle because I like the idea of the wings being able to lift as if it's flying. What do you think? Now, as I said, this was the stamps that I was using this week. We did our Bokeh Technique today. On Monday, we had done the hinge stamping technique, where we put the stamp in the stamparatus and then moved it down the hinge. I also did a couple more. This one, I just made rows across the back, kind of freehand. What I did was I put a ruler on my desk and I made a diagonal line. And then I used my stamp, kind of butted up against that. And then to make sure that this didn't move, I put pencil marks here and here so that when I moved my card and needed the next line, I still had the same direction and the same degree of bend. So just a little mark here, a little mark here, and then just move the card up and down and then stamp with it butted up against the ruler. The butterfly dies are gorgeous. I agree. And then I have this one where I just used some strips of designer series paper and did a monochromatic, which means it's all in purples. And then I did this one here where I just stamped on the bottom. Should have used the stamparatus because it was a little bit light. And there's one more. And then this one is basically the same as this one, only I put the white in between the background and the front. So it can go either way, but it's a great way to use up scraps because this is only like a 1.25 inch, 1 inch piece of paper. That one's 1 1/8. But it's just strips that I cut and then used as a background. So that's all I did with this Biggest Wish stamp set. Like I said, I love it because it's all big sentiments. They're quick and easy and have lots of uses. You know, hello friend, happy birthday, thanks friend, lots of options. And I know what I'm doing next week, actually, for Monday and for Thursday. So Monday, I'll be doing this one. This is our Share a Milkshake bundle. This, like I said, is out of the January to June mini catalog. So there's this stamp set and some coordinating dies that go with it. And the dies either cut out the stamped images or they can cut out, this is a waffle cone. And then there's some additional, in addition to the ice cream, we have chocolate topping and whipped cream and a little sponge. This one will be Monday, and it's got a center lift into it. It does have some dies that say happy birthday. I'm using the Valentine's-ish sign ones for this one. See, we have the celebrate and you're the cherry on top. Can be multiple uses, but I thought they were super cute. And then this one, while it looks kind of plain on the outside, it's a cute layout, but it's, you know, just a card sketch. The inside has a pop-up mechanism that shows us our little ice cream sundae. So we'll be playing with that on Thursday. So make sure that you come back and watch. Okay, let me switch over to our computer because we want to see who our winner is. We're ready to spin. Everyone should have typed in hashtag prize patrol. I see someone on Facebook. I'm sorry, I can't see your name. It tells me Facebook user. In the description of the video, it has a link where you can click and give StreamYard permission to use your name. If you are on Facebook, it requires that. It doesn't on YouTube. And I'm told that YouTube doesn't have quite the delay that Facebook does. So just a heads up. We have 7 entries, so a little light this week, being the week between Christmas and New Year's. People are busy trying to get the last of their vacation plans in, I'm sure. So there we go. Abby is our winner. Congratulations, Abby. I think you've won before. So what I need you to do is go over to my blog and up in the address bar where it says queenbeecreations.net. At the end, you want to put / and then prize patrol. And that'll take you to a Google form where you can give me your address so I know where to mail your card. And then make sure that you tell me if you want the blues or the pinks. So congratulations. Again, please come back in the new year. We will be live on Monday, which will be what, the 2nd at 2:30 in the afternoon. So happy New Year, everybody. Stay safe.